Voice of the people. You can hear me now. My name is Patrick Doyle, and I wish that you continue to echo the voices of the people. Big up VOP TV.
My name is Suibifa Dokubo. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, my name is Kwekumali Ikena Onyekwena, and I am with the Voice of the People TV. Now, if you're looking for the veritable channel for information, politics, robust discussions, you don't need to go far. VOP has you. VOP will always have you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Diabwa, aka Ibani Chuka, Amayanabo the Eagle King, and you are watching VOP TV. Stay with us.
This is African News on Voice of the People television, where we don't just bring you the news, we bring you Africa's heartbeats, the policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future. African News on Voice of the People television. Stay with us.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get drum! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues. Your
It is hashtags right here on VOP TV. My name is Vivian Oguche, and it's a pleasure to have you join us. This is where we get to tell you all things trending and all things topical. And today, I can bet you we've got lots and lots of things to discuss. I mean, over the weekend, lots of stories broke, so we're going to be touching on them, and then we're going to be doing should I call it follow-up? Yes, and some of the stories we broke last week, right? And of course, we got some fresh scoops for you. I'm telling you, nowhere else but here. So if this is your first time joining the gang, I say accept a very warm welcome from us. I say welcome because I'm not flying solo. Hello.
Good evening, and good evening to our viewers. I'm Ikechukwu Agu. This is exactly where you get every information that is breaking the net. And of course, the follow-up will definitely, like Vivian said, will always bring it to you as it unfolds. Vivian, let's fly this plane. Okie
dokie. That said, we begin with hashtag President Tinubu'S ambassadorial list. Gosh, this is what's got everybody talking online. I can tell you. It's a huge debate that's raging on. So I'm going to be taking you straight to X in a short while. So a couple of days ago, President Tinubu submitted about 32 names to the Senate for confirmation. Non-career ambassadors and career ambassadors. There's a difference. But the one that has so much wahala right now, that's got so many people talking online, is the non-career ambassadorial list. And that has the likes of FFK. He is Femi Fani Kayode. He used to be a minister once upon a time. Another one that's got people talking is Reno Omokri. He used to be a presidential spokesperson once upon a time. Now social media influencer. So like I said, not too much talk. I take you straight to X now. The first post you're going to be seeing is from Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu's spokesperson. He's keeping us posted. So let's go to X now. Hashtag President Tinubu's ambassadorial list. Bayo Onanuga says President Tinubu nominates 32 additional ambassadors. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sent the names of 32 ambassadorial nominees to the Senate for confirmation, days after he sent the first batch of 3 names. So you guys, you get it? There was a first batch of 3 names and then the second batch of 32 names. Bayo continues by saying, in 2 separate letters to the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, President Tinubu asked the Senate to consider and confirm expeditiously 15 nominees as career ambassadors and 17 nominees as non-career ambassadors. There are 4 women on the career ambassadors list and 6 women on the non-career ambassadors list. Now, among non-career ambassador designates, that's what they are called right now because they've not been confirmed by the Senate. So, among the non-career ambassador designates are Barrister Ogbone Yakalu from Abia, a former presidential aide, Reno Mokri Delta, former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC Mahmoud Yakubu, a former Ekiti First Lady. Did you notice how he didn't qualify the Reno Mokri name on that list? But hey, let's not do all that. He goes on to say former Ekiti First Lady, Angela Adebayo, and former Enugu Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. Now, that's not the whole of the list. The next one you're going to be seeing is going to be breaking down the list into non-career and career ambassadors. All right, thank you. So this is the non-career ambassadors. Nah, this is the career ambassadors. See, this one doesn't have too much wahala. Career ambassadors, that's it. So far, nobody is saying withdraw this list. The PDP is not shouting and crying wolf. But let's go to the next one, which is that of the career ambassadors. Non-career ambassadors. The one you just saw is the non-career ambassadors. This is the non-career ambassadors. Barrister Ogbone Yakalu, Abia, Reno Omokri, Delta, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu Bochi. Professor Mahmoud Yakubu is the former INEC chairman. And then we have BC Angela Adebayo Ekiti, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi Enugu, Musa Maigari Katsina, Yakubu Gambo Plateau, Professor Nora Datut Plateau, Tumba Femi Pedro Lagos, and Chief Femi Fani Kayode Oshun, Barrister Nkechi Linda Anambra, Fatima Florence Ajimobi Oyo. You remember her? She is the widow of the late governor of Oyo State, Ajimobi. Now, Lola Akonde, Lagos, Grace Bent Adama, Dr. Victor Keze Piazzo, Abia, Senator Jim Ibrahim Ondo, Ambassador Paul Oga Adiku Benue. Adiku Benue. Right? So, the PDP is saying withdraw this list and they are hammering on the non-career ambassadors list that the president has sent to the Senate. Not just the PDP, there is so much ado right now. In fact, people went so far to pull up 2 videos concerning 2 people with the most concerns, talking about Reno Mokri and FFK, that is Femi Fani Kayode. Now, the first video I'm going to be showing you is that of Femi Fani Kayode. This video was taken from 2020, where he was seen screaming at a journalist. So it was a press conference, and the journalist had asked him that who is bankrolling all these your journeys that you've been doing, because he was making a lot of trips around the country that period, especially the north. And the journalist asked him, who's bankrolling it? Oh my gosh, and FFK let it go, as in he was spitting fire like a dragon. Why don't you take a look at that video, and then we'll show you the next one. But first, this one, take a look.
I'm saying this on live TV. What? No, put that thing down. Let me address. What type of stupid question is that? What type of stupid question is that? Bankrolling who? Do you know who you are talking to? Bank, I will not take any questions from this man. What type of insulting question is that? Which bankroll? To do what? Who can give me money for anything? Who do you think you are talking to? Bankroll what? Go and report yourself to your publisher. Bankroll what? Please don't insult me here. I don't want to take any questions from this man. Very stupid. I could see from your face before you got here how stupid you are. Don't ever talk to me like that. Who do you think you're talking to? Bankroll who? You think that I'm one of those ones you'll be from who? From how? When? Where? How? You have a small mind. Very small mind. Don't judge me by your own standards. I've been in politics since 1990. I'm not one of these politicians you think will just come. I've been locked up how many times by this government? Suffered. I've been persecuted. Unlike most of the politicians you follow for brown envelope. You. Don't ever judge me by that standard. I spend, I don't take. And I'm not a poor man. I've never been and I will never be. Bankroll how? Don't ever suggest that to me. I'm sorry that it was deeply insulting. I don't often get annoyed.
Looks could kill. That journalist will be dead, I'm telling you. Okay, I'm almost speechless. Did you see the fire coming out of Femi Fani-Kayode's face? The journalist, by the way, went on to bag an award after this incident because so much sympathy from Nigerians, and they made FFK apologize. So it was a publicly done thing. He apologized for the like my colleague Shagun is saying, the journalist did not utter one single word. He just stood there. But I don't know if I can do it. He just stood there like Jesus stood there when he was being taken to the slaughter, and he didn't say anything.
He's a professional.
He's also a born again. He was doing like his master.
Is he born again?
Yeah, he was. I followed that story closely.
Interesting.
He's still a born again.
But the truth is, I mean,
that was hot.
Not everyone can actually, take that hit. Again, you also need to understand that he understands the power that FFK wields at that point, and compared to where because
he was struggling to go to the journalist.
Yes, bus, just snap of FFK's finger. The guy would be. We've seen the journalists,
but the journalist company came to his defense.
No, what I'm even saying, I'm not even talking about the company now. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about we've seen journalists make certain statements, and we've heard of cases where people got missing, because of things they're actually pursuing.
But I don't think that's why he was keeping quiet. I think he was shocked. He was shocked into silence
because
nobody saw that thing coming.
Because that was a big man.
Oh well, that's
it.
But so netizens went out to pull up this video, and they are saying this is the person you want to put as the face of Nigeria, and all of that. The internet does not forget, right? Another video netizens went to pull out from 2023 this time around was that of Reno on Mockery, who happens to be one of President Tinubu'S cheerleaders, right? He used to be his arch enemy. Not too long ago, before President Tinubu became president, Reno Mockery had gone to the university President Tinubu had graduated from outside the country to verify if the president actually went there to school. And he said the president did not have a certificate. Reno Mockery was the one that went about calling President Tinubu a drug baron and all. But all of a sudden, he did a 360. He now said President Tinubu is one of the best things to have happened to Nigeria. And he's now, 5 and 6 with the president. And the president went ahead to nominate him as a non-career ambassador. So it looks like he's doing a good job, isn't it? But hey, netizens went to 2023 to pull up this video. I'd like for the director to start from 20 seconds into this video where Reno Mockery was asked, in a televised interview that if he was given a position by President Tinubu or by Tinubu, would he accept it and would he work with him? Guys, listen to what Reno said.
Somebody from Bola Tinubu's camp has already reached out to me, and I told the person that, look, it cannot happen. I can't do it. It's just against my principles. I'm not. Some people can do that. It's not in my DNA. I can't do it. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I wish Bola Tinubu well if he eventually is sworn in and then the courts uphold his victory. But I can betray privilege. Somebody from Bola Tinubu's camp.
So this was before the president was sworn in as the president. And this was when his case, the thing about a certificate forgery was in court and all of that. This this is Reno now. So are we keeping our fingers crossed to hear him say no if eventually the Senate confirms him?
Okay, that's going to be a very tall order because at this point, I want to believe the president's already reached out to him before actually submitting this name.
Maybe.
Because, I mean, he and the president are very well, in a very good place now. And turning down the president's request here would more like, making the president look like he doesn't know what he's doing, or there's a problem, within their ranks. So I don't think he wants to really give the president what will look like an embarrassment. So I want to believe they've reached out to him and he's agreed to do. But Reno is a politician for me. And
he's really really a politician.
It's all about interest, and that's what we're going to see.
Can you describe him as a politician? He is, some people will call him a lobbyist. Some people will call him a social media influencer. He used to be a presidential spokesperson. But I don't know if you can call him a politician.
No, so the thing is, when you mix with people who are actually in a certain field for too long, you begin to exhibit their attitude.
But that doesn't make you... For example, if you mix with soldiers for too long, that does not make you a military. I mean, if a bike stays in a garage for too long, it cannot become a car.
So let me give you. I like what you said, right? Bike and of course soldiers. Let's talk about politicians now. And there are two types of politicians. There are those who actually will aspire for public office, right? And there are those who they know they don't have the means to actually fund themselves or push themselves all through. But they definitely, because they are very used to the corridors of power, they are the ones who scheme and arrange how whoever it is that is going to be in power do the job of a politician under who plays the behind the scene role for politicians. And these guys are as good as politicians, whether we like it or not. And we've seen we've seen a lot of persons over the years who graduated from playing behind the scene role to become actual politicians.
So if you tell me Femi Fani-Kayode is a politician, I'll say yes, hands down. But can we agree to disagree on Reno being a politician? But netizens are reacting to this particular hashtag. The PDP is saying, withdraw the list. We don't want it. You can't even do it. And they're saying this is an integrity thing. Lots of other netizens are reacting. So let's go back to X so you see how netizens are reacting to President Tinubu's ambassadorial list. OCFA says career ambassador, professional, merit-based, a lifelong diplomat. Non-career political ambassador. Political appointee, usually a reward or strategic placement by the president. Thank you, Ossie, for clarification. Yeah, the next one. So Lim M says, these ambassadorial appointments are pure political patronage rewarding loyal allies instead of choosing competent representatives. This administration clearly prioritizes loyalty over good governance. There's another one. So The Guardian says the PDP has slammed President Tinubu's new ambassadorial nominees as scandalous and reprehensible, arguing the list reflects the administration's troubling values. This is coming from the People's Democratic Party now. The next one. So Nigeria Story says PDP demands withdrawal of Tinubu's ambassadorial list over integrity concerns. So more netizens are reacting to this post that Nigeria Stories put up. Let's take a look at them. Effects Baba says, well, it's great advice for the presidency. Ambassadors are the face of Nigeria in whatever country they are posted to represent us as a nation and image builders. Having anyone with a questionable character in that role can dent the country's reputation. Nigeria deserves better. One more. So, Atobajaye, I hope I got that right.
Atobajaye.
All right, thank you. Says, the list is an embarrassment to Nigeria. Tinubu, before you came into power, Nigeria was a nation respected globally. Why are you turning us into a laughing stock? Leadership is not by force. Why would you nominate individuals with questionable character to represent Nigeria as ambassadors? So that's like a question now. I don't know if Bayo Onanuga is going to reply and answer and all, even though the APC has been defending the president's list. I mean, he has the right to do what he wants to do, right? He's president.
Yeah, I mean,
have your say before
it is his fault within his purview to actually choose who is ambassadors.
But you're leading people, right? So if the people you lead are not happy with you, hey, what does it mean?
Well, it's one thing for people to actually, question the list. It's another thing we're in a democratic country. Some persons don't have issues with the list. That's what the reality is.
Yeah.
And if they can actually do the job in the end, Why don't you give them a chance?
This thing about the list, this is not the first time it's happening. When the president was going to grant clemency to a number of people, and there was Miriam Sander, and then there was a number of other people with weighty convictions.
Yeah, drug and other issues. Yeah.
Kidnappers and
so
Nigerians came at that list.
Yeah.
And the president did took a second look at the list, and some names were withdrawn. There's a possibility that this is going to happen in this case, because this is coming with that kind of intensity. There is so much chatter online about this.
Well,
so we keep our fingers crossed.
All right.
Especially when it comes to Reno Mockery and FFK. Reno Mockery especially. We'll see how this drama unfolds. We move on now to the next hashtag Obasanjo. So former President Obasanjo was at Plateau State over the weekend at an event. And again, he was blowing hot. He was like, look, Nigeria is part of the world community. He coined that phrase. He said Nigeria is part of the world community. So if Nigeria is not able to take care of her business and needs the help of, Trump, why not if not? That's what he said. This is me paraphrasing. So I'm going to take you to X, so you take a look at a couple of publications, and then I'll play a clip for you to listen so you get a gist, a feel of the gist. Shall we? Let's do it. Hashtag Obasanjo. So, Ibuya Media says, quote, Nigerians are being killed and our government seems incapable of protecting us. We are part of the world community. If our government can't do it, we have a right to call on the international community. End of quote. Obasanjo chides Tinubu on insecurity. Instablog Nigeria also has it. Yeah, thank you. If the government cannot protect its people, we have the right to call on the international community to act. Obasanjo challenges Tinubu over rising banditry. I dare to edit that post. Take a listen now to the president.
No matter what religion you belong to, no matter where you come from, no matter what profession, we Nigerians are being killed. And our governments seem to be incapable of protecting us. We are part of the world community. If our government cannot do it, we have right to call on the international community to do for us what our government cannot do for us. And for anybody to say because those who are being killed belong to this region, belong to this religion, belong to this tribe, and then others too are being killed, cannot be an acceptable excuse. Before I left government, I know we had capacity to pick up anybody in Nigeria who commits crime anywhere. The capacity that we didn't have then is after we have identified and located such a criminal, we have no capacity to be able to pick him up without moving on land or by air. Now we have capacity. With drones, you can sniff them up. You can take them out. Why are we not doing that? Why are we apologizing? Why are we?
That's a cliffhanger, I can tell you. He was really angry. But there's something he said, right? He said when he was president and there was insecurity in a particular region, that they had to go by land. They didn't have, the luxury that the military has now. And he specifically talked about drones. I know I talked about this earlier on. It looked like it was nothing. But these monies that have been pumped into equipping the military, where are the equipments, for crying out loud? That was him coming down hard. And you know, Baba, once he gets on your case, it's Nawahala.
Absolutely.
Remember when President Goodluck Jonathan was campaigning for a comeback, and Baba tore his PDP membership card. It was like him tearing Jonathan's presidency apart.
Absolutely.
Like things fall apart. Now he's coming down hard on President Tinubu, who happens to be from the same region as himself. Some people are saying he is a detribalized Nigerian. But hey, let me not put words in your mouth.
So we've talked about this drone issue for a long time. In fact, I can't even count the number of times we've actually done that. The truth is, if an 80-something years old Obasanjo is saying
Who used
stuff,
to be a soldier.
yes, who is saying stuff about drone in 2025.
Yeah.
Tell me why a general in their 50s, in their 40s cannot actually move mountains to ensure that we have drones all over our forests to ensure that we find these guys and then we nip whatever issues that we have within security in the board. He says just one thing. What former Chief of Army Staff T.Y. Danjuma said, they collude. Because if there's no ground for that, trust me, these guys will have taken these guys apart. Again, right? It brings the question. The job of a leader is actually to delegate, right? But then when you delegate and then you don't do follow-up, it means you are abdicating your responsibility. That's what this government has been doing. And that's why insecurity has been increasing. And that's why it seems like there's no one who's actually running the country. Hey, Vivian, go get that job done. I should call you back and say, how far? What have you done? Let me see.
It's called division of labor. It's why the president was also asking that. Why is the administration apologizing to bandits?
That's the negotiation thing.
And
yes.
The second, why are you, he was going to say, why are you negotiating?
That's the thing, right? Because you have the luxury of what I don't have. What we don't have. See,
is it easier said than done?
No, it's not easier said than done. We have the capacity. This is our territory. In fact, there was a point in time, one of former President Jonathan's aide, I can't remember, I think it was late Donyo Kukwe, who was actually interviewed. I think it was on BBC or so. They were having a conversation about terrorists during Jonathan's regime. One of the questions that was asked him was about insecurity. And he was like, insecurity is everywhere in the world. Even America has suffered insecurity. And you know what the reporter told him? The reporter said, yes, America suffered 9/11 and all of that. But there's no point, no inch, no county in US that was taken over by terrorists.
Yeah. And
that's
you don't
the difference.
have the terrorists flying their flags.
Yeah, so when they come attack you, it's different. You know that, okay, they don't hold even if it's a room in your territory. But these guys control mass. I mean, our forest is up for grabs now.
And farmers are crying.
Yes.
They have to pay fees to continue to farm and all.
And then we have to keep buying, because they cannot go to farm, we have to keep buying, imported, and then whatever is coming locally is going to be very expensive. These are terrible times to actually be a Nigerian, sincerely.
So President Tinubu has joined the bandwagon of those asking for Trump to come. Peter Obi did that last week, and Bayo Onanuga came for him the next day. Put up a post to say, Peter Obi, you will not be forgotten, you will not be forgiven for asking for foreign invasion. I'm waiting to see what he's going to say to former President Obasanjo. But hey, I'd like for us to see how netizens are responding to this particular hashtag. It's a mixed bag, yeah? So, Princeton did it's elaborate, and I'm thinking, let's have a go. Princeton says Nigeria faces a political will problem, not a security mystery. The government knows exactly how to reduce insecurity within 6 months, but their nonchalant attitude keeps us moving backwards. Yes, what could be done immediately if they could care? Deploy special forces to the top 15 hotspots and keep them permanently, not just for photo ops. Shut down illegal mining sites funding bandits and prosecute the politicians protecting them. Build a national drone surveillance network to monitor every forest in real time. Freeze financial flows to terror networks using aggressive banking and telecom data tracking. Mandate state governments to create rapid response units with a 10-minute reaction window. Strengthen local vigilante groups with proper training radius and legal backing. Fix police logistics once and for all. Fill vehicles, functional GPS, and operational allowances paid on time. Create a unified command center where military, DSS, police, and immigration share intelligence instantly. That's 9 and 10. Let's take a look at it. 9. Seal porous borders with joint operations and mobile scanners. Publicly, that's 10. Publicly prosecute ministers and officers caught aiding kidnappers to ensure consequences are real. And then he says, Nigeria has the capacity. Gosh, sounds like a military operative, I'm telling you.
It's actually a very long one. But then in all of this, if you don't give state governments the power that will really define them as the chief security officer of the state, all this will amount to nothing.
Yeah, but I see governors coming together now. It's the regional thing. As we speak, northern governors are meeting. Last week we had the southern governors meet and all. I think the governors are stepping up the plate, as to be chief security officers of their various states. But we have more reactions. Let's go to the next one, shall we? So Pragmatic DB says, fire man. He's referring to former President OBJ. All these past leaders, especially someone like OBJ, should keep quiet when it comes to issues like this. Was Nigeria safe when he was president?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Ikechukwu, before you qualify your statement, he says, Pragmatic DB continues to say, yes, we still have insecurity challenges, but OBJ should let us speak for ourselves. So what was your yes about?
Absolutely. When Obasanjo was president, Nigeria was way, way safe. And in fact, that was when the Boko Haram incident actually started, when he arrested the leader, who eventually died in the prison. I'm talking about, I think Yusuf Ali. Yeah, it's his name, was his name. And the incident
so many people had come out to say that the modus operandi that was employed at that point was what made Boko Haram larger than life.
So let me tell you,
that if they had not made a martyr out of the late Yusuf, that organization.
Let's be very honest with ourselves. If Obasanjo had been president, perhaps if that I'm actually not supporting the death of Yusuf, because he actually died in prison. Not like he was
wasn't
actually
killed.
Yes, it wasn't actually the state that actually killed him. At least from where we stand, if Obasanjo had remained president, they wouldn't have actually grown beyond that particular space. Just like what happened with the El-Zaki movement. That was more like what Boko Haram, was more like a movement, and then
the El-Zaki movement was nipped in the bud by who? Former President Buhari.
Absolutely. Buhari. So look at this case now. During Obasanjo time, there was an issue of the Niger Delta who actually had a very serious cause, which is the issue of degradation of their environment. They actually want the government to actually come. One of the demands was all companies should actually relocate to the Niger Delta. I mean, you cannot actually be getting oil from here and then have your headquarters in Lagos and Abuja, because if you are here, you definitely see the environment, how terrible it is, and then you ensure that the environment is kept clean. That was one of the
so you're talking
issues.
About environmental pollution.
Yes. Yeah. So now Obasanjo's government actually handled it like a military man, which is definitely to go head on after these guys, and he wanted to actually crush these guys.
How did that work?
I mean, to an extent, right? Yes, it actually became a thing, but I know that if Obasanjo had remained president beyond that time, they would have actually found a way to actually end it and then give these guys what they actually wanted.
So Yar'Adua came in and down started the amnesty thingy.
And then it was over, because these guys eventually, what they're actually fighting for is what you can actually relate with.
So the thing is, different strokes for different folks, but it is not rocket science. Insecurity can be nipped in the bud.
Absolutely, because if the military is actually following through what the order of the president, and then to keep the country safe, if they're actually not playing two sides. Mm-hmm. I mean, insecurity can actually be dealt with as easy as possible. We've seen it. So if he said Obasanjo, I mean, during Obasanjo time, people can easily travel, night, day, and nothing. We don't get to hear people get kidnapped. So yes, I understand you want to make a case. You don't like Obasanjo as a person. A lot of persons don't like him. I mean, certain.
No, are you pointing at me?
No, not you.
He's a well-respected man.
I'm talking about him. I mean, in the South, it took so many tough decisions.
What I'm doing here is like playing the role of a devil's advocate, because you see, there are so many netizens online. So you say your piece, I try to bring in their
No, I'm not talking about you. Yeah, I'm talking about the guy. The guy that said,
yeah, but there are more reactions.
Okay.
So more responses. Let's take you back to X now, so you see how netizens continue to react to former President Obasanjo's statement as to how insecurity would end. Lord of Worry says Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president, effectively neutralized every terrorist threat during his tenure, solidifying his status as Nigeria's greatest president. However, the current security crisis isn't solely on President Tinubu's shoulders. It originated under Jonathan and was exacerbated by Buhari. A sudden president tackling this issue faces inevitable accusations from the North of targeting their people. That is the terrorists. Only a genuine Hausa northern president, not one of us aiming to Islamize the nation, can truly resolve this. The North's complicity in fostering these terrorists complicates any external or southern-led solution, making internal northern leadership the only viable path forward, provided it's not tainted by jihadist agendas. Gosh, this is a lot to wrap your head around. And you hear what he's saying right now.
Yeah, I see it, and I disagree to an extent.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I said before, these guys, we've seen them, they are ragtag armies. And if you give states power to actually protect every state governor to protect its state, right? Every state becomes safe. We now know that the problem we have is in the northern part of the country. Then we can now go for a joint operation. Now, the northern areas will definitely have to sit.
That's your opinion.
No.
This is Lord of Worry's opinion, but there are more reactions. I want the northern governors actually sitting right now. So let's see what they're going to come out with. More reactions. I want for us to take a look at the last one, I think. All right, I understand that that's the last one, but lots of reactions here to this hashtag. We move on now to the next one, which is Obaseki versus Opolo. Now, Obaseki happens to be, Godwin Obaseki happens to be a former governor of Edo State. Monday Opolo is his successor and he's currently at the helms. Now, there is some deep, intense bitterness and bad blood flowing between the two. Obaseki allegedly seizes any opportunity he has, to lambaste his predecessor. So, this is fresh. This just dropped. The Cable has this video, this story I'm going to be telling you, and then we'll play the video for you. So, Obaseki came out to say that he who fights by the sword dies by the sword. What does it mean? You'll have to listen for you to understand what he's saying. So, I take you back to X now so you see the Cable's story regarding this particular hashtag, Obaseki versus Opolo. Let's do it. So the Cable says, those who live by the sword die by the sword. Tell the governor, Opolo, or whatever he calls himself, that when you start with violence, you will reap violence. The government paid people to come to Manchester and attack me, and they slapped Albert. I will not fold my hands while they attack me. I am going to fight back. End of quote. Godwin Obaseki, former Edo governor. Credit goes to Benin blogger for the video. Take a listen.
I made some comments yesterday in Birmingham, and I heard there was some reaction. I said, okay, that's fine, but you haven't seen anything yet.
Hey,
you see, I said, those who live by the sword die by the sword. And to tell the governor, or whatever he calls himself, I don't know him, I've never met him, that when you start with violence, you will reap. Because for 1 year since I left office, I didn't say one word, I didn't do anything. I said, look, let me respect myself, let me give them an opportunity to also try. So go and find out, you will see one thing I said about that government. For 1 year, from November 12th when I finished till this past November, I didn't say one thing. Then suddenly, you and the palace organized, you go, you attack diplomats who came to watch exhibition in Moa. You send people singing and threatening me. Go and watch those clips and the kind of things they were saying about me. Threatening me between the government and the palace. That was not enough. Government paid people to come to Manchester to attack me. And they hurt, slapped Albert. So who has started this violence? Is it me? No. Last week, or this week, this governor, or whatever he calls himself, had a disgraceful press conference where he was threatening me. Somebody born in Reno, this is a villager, telling me that I cannot come to Benin. That when I come to Benin, you show me. Me. When I'm ready to go, we all come. It's an insult. I mean, saying you cannot go to his village wherever he comes from. He's coming to threaten. That will tell you that where they have gone to mentally. So there's been threatening violence. So if now I respond, nobody should hold me responsible. Because it is clear, I can't leave myself empty to be hurt and attacked by deranged people like that. So I'm going to fight back. I'm giving them a notice. I will fight back.
Hey! Don't cast!
I didn't start the fight. Look at the clouds they paid to come and disrupt this event. Junkies. and they call themselves a government. And because they are afraid, they know they did not win the election. I was in INEC that day and I saw what they did. Shameful.
Former governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki. Gosh, I mean, this thing that's going on between the former governor and his successor, this is some deep thing, I can tell you. Now he's threatening to, he made allegations, right? In journalism, you need to play fair. You need to hear the other side of the story to know if actually Governor Bello attacked Albert. I was wondering who Albert was, and he said probably a bouncer. No, Albert who was slapped in Manchester. But former Governor Obaseki said some things that, look, if this attack doesn't stop, he's going to revolt. He also talked about a shameful press conference that was put together. And it sounds like defamation is what his grouse is. So instead of, going the way of jungle justice, is it not better to go through the right channel?
Well, first of all, the government, according to him anyways, because, I mean, the former governor who is saying that the former governor, I mean, this present governor, I kept calling former governor, Opoyolo is actually making certain remarks, defamation.
I listened to one of them and it was totally, it was.
It would have been,
I think I'm going to pull out one of the videos where Opoyolo was talking about Obaseki, how he was saying he can't even step his foot in Edo State. So that we can,
So the man that is actually making this, statement and making all sort of conversation. I think that's exactly why Obaseki started his statement with, he will live by sword or die by sword, because power is transient. At some point, you leave office, and who are you without, having the state backing and state authority and state power? Obaseki will always be Obaseki because he's from a very big family in Edo State. The Obaseki family is huge. If you're from Edo State, you know that there are certain families, the Obaseki family, the Benedian family. These are established family in the state. I mean, who is Opoyolo? Who is the governor?
The governor.
That's the thing. Right? Outside the government house, who is he? These are the conversations. So when you make certain remarks about, someone like that, it means that, there's something you're actually looking for.
But the thing is, I don't know the root cause of their problem, but there must be civility, some form of civility that should be employed in what's going on. If those at the top are playing like this, what would you say about
There's actually no difference. The only difference between you and I and them is the fact that they are actually, in the public, so they tend to actually hide, what they do. But
they are leaders and they should lead by example. Yeah.
Well,
we're going to further investigate this. So expect to follow up tomorrow, right? We'll move on now to #ceremonial coup. This is the follow-up to something we did last week, and Ikechukwu wanted to know, the full gist of it. You do remember that last week, former President Goodluck Jonathan was trapped in Guinea-Bissau when a coup happened. It was Cote d'Ivoire that sent a presidential jet. A presidential jet to go pick up Jonathan, and there was so much ado about it being Cote d'Ivoire and not Nigeria who went to pick up former president and all. But former President Goodluck Jonathan came to settle that matter once and for all. He said Cote d'Ivoire was nearest and they came first, and hey, that there's nothing to it. But he dropped a cliffhanger. He said there was no coup. I have an elongated version of that interview. In fact, you're going to see, there's a visual of him, right, visiting the president. Let's have that visual playing. I want the visual to roll while I talk about this a little bit. Now, when it gets to the place where he's answering questions, then I'll let you take a listen to him. Yeah, so that's him arriving at Aso Rock. He went to visit President Tinubu. This is fresh to give him the real gist of the matter. He said it was the sitting president, who invited the military to come take over, that it was a sham, that it was a ceremonial coup because he was short of words. He said he didn't know how to describe what had happened. And he said why he went to tell President Tinubu what had happened was because if you're a member of ECOWAS and you're sent on an assignment like he was sent to go be an election observer, you have to go back to your home country and talk to your president, who will now go to ECOWAS and talk to the heads of states, when they have their meeting. He said he's explaining why. Take a listen.
As a former president, all these regional and continental issues whenever you're involved, when you get back home, you have to brief your president because the ECOWAS leaders will meet. I will not be there. So you'll be able to get first-hand information. I think, just like I mentioned in the press briefing, the key thing is that that election was concluded. Tallying of the results was almost concluded. In fact, the results are known. And the key thing is that the winner of that election must be announced. Well, they cannot kick out the military with force, otherwise people will die. But let us know the winner of the election. So what I'm asking the ECOWAS leaders to do is to reach out to the military leadership in Guinea-Bissau. Talk to them. They are human beings. They know the right thing to be done. First, for them to release the opposition man, because the man has not committed any offense. He didn't announce himself as a winner of election. If he has done that, they will say it was a treasonable offense. So there was no reason to arrest him. So they should release that man. Then they should announce the result. And if the military will agree, the person who won the election should be inaugurated as the president of the country. We are tired of this in Africa. We are tired. Every day is negative story, negative story. What happened in Guinea-Bissau? It is not what some people would say palace coup. It was not a palace coup. We know coups. Real coups, palace coups we know in Nigeria. This was not even a palace coup. I was looking for the appropriate word to describe. I couldn't get it. I described it as a ceremonial coup. It was a ceremony conducted by the head of state himself.
It was a ceremony conducted by the head of state himself. He took his time to, pick his words and send the message across. So he's just saying that the person that is there does not want to leave. He's also calling for the release of the opposition leader, and he wants the election to be announced.
So for the head of state to actually organize
a ceremonial coup, like
it means it's not popular. That's what it means. He did his not only ceremony. Right, a ceremonial coup. So wanted to actually test waters to see his popularity, and then someone within the country was protesting against the coup. This coup should not stand, and that was it. From when he came back, the country wasn't the same. Nobody wants you, and that led to 24 days from Christmas. So perhaps you organizing a ceremonial coup, history has shown that you most likely lose. You've lost the people, and we're definitely going to be seeing a new president.
And former President Goodluck Jonathan is not having it. He just blew the whistle. And if you go to that particular, hashtag, people are just singing his president. In fact, someone went so far to call him the best president, even though someone has already called Obasanjo the best president Nigeria has ever had. But let's take a look at that lone reaction or response that I picked. Lots of them, so much accolades for former President Goodluck Jonathan. But can we quickly take a look at this one now? As someone was reacting to him, he said, this is Daddy D.O. Says former President Goodluck Jonathan paid it. The next one, this is, the text leading to the video you just watched. So, Aundoso says, J is looking healthy, clean, and peaceful. He left without baggage or any bad blood. He's an amazing leader and one that will always be remembered for many decades to come. And former President Goodluck, former President Goodluck Jonathan should bask in the euphoria right now, I can tell you that. On that note, we will keep you posted as this particular hashtag unfolds. Let's quickly take a look at what South African President Cyril Ramaphosa is saying about Donald Trump. There is some bad blood between these two, right? I don't want to talk too much. Why don't you listen to Cyril Ramaphosa, who handed over, the hosting of G Summit to President Trump, who wasn't available when he was supposed to be available and all. So, hey, he's not finding it funny. Take a listen, guys.
and the final meetings leading up to that summit. Regrettable that the United States of America, which is a founding member of the G20 and which takes over the presidency of the G20 from South Africa in 2026, chose not to participate in the G20 Leaders Summit and the final meetings leading up to that summit. It is even more unfortunate that the reasons the United States gave for its non-participation were based on baseless and false allegations that South Africa is perpetrating genocide against Afrikaners and the confiscation of land from white people. This is blatant misinformation about our country.
When you're going to be hosting the G20 summit, you're supposed to attend the closing ceremony of the host that's going to hand over to you. Trump did not even attend the G summit in South Africa. And so South Africa refused to hand over to the American officials that were there. And Trump now barred South Africa from attending the G20, the next one. So this is some intense thing. What's his problem? He's saying that South Africa, that there's a genocide against the white, and that they are taking farmlands from whites and all. But what Cyril Ramaphosa, South African president, just said is a blatant lie. Why don't we continue this tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because we are pressed for time. And I'd like to say thanks to everyone who contributed to making the show a success. But the bigger thanks goes to you guys for watching. Why don't you keep a date with Ikechukwu and I for another edition of Hashtags for fresh and trending stories and, of course, for follow-ups. Until then, I am Vivian Oguche. Bye for now.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms.